Organized cybercriminals are a serious problem for businesses, targeting employees, digital assets, endpoints, and identities alike. To help businesses safely scale, the Huntress 2026 Cyber Threat Report breaks down the major threat activity we saw in 2025.
If you look at last year's threat report, we really identified and we were able to track end-of-quarter spikes in adversarial activity. They're evolving their structures to much more mimic legitimate businesses when it comes to their operations.
This isn't somebody in their basement conducting this. This is an organization. They've got project managers. They're utilizing Jira and project management solutions that we utilize today in our corporate environments.
Like any legitimate business, cybercriminals aim to scale efficiently. So instead of custom malware, they abused the same tools your business relies on. That's why RMM isn't a backup plan for cybercriminals. It's a go-to intrusion path that went up 277% in 2025.
RMM tools, super powerful from an IT perspective, super powerful from an adversary's perspective.
Instead of writing their own malware that conducted these command and control functions for them, instead they've actually moved over to using these legitimate RMM solutions.
I mean, why rebuild from scratch when you have tools that you can just pull off the shelf?
It allows them remote access to the devices. They can hide in the noise. Most security products are not going to detect that, right? Because by itself, it's a valid tool. It's just being used for nefarious purposes.
But tools alone aren't enough. Tactics like Clickfix now account for over 50% of all malware loader activity, exploiting our trust and tricking us into deploying the malware ourselves.
Threat actors are using the things that we are used to against us. When you look at Clickfix, I think the reason this is so impactful is because the internet has already trained us to do weird things to access websites, right? Like, which of these images contain a bicycle? That was a very weird thing to ask people.
Run some Windows shortcut keys, paste some commands into a terminal or a PowerShell prompt, and execute those, and that'll resolve your problems.
And so they're actively executing code on behalf of the adversary on their system. Frequently, it's going to install some kind of malware, backdoor, some kind of persistence mechanism.
It looked so legitimate. Like, even security professionals were looking at this and saying, hey, I could have actually fallen for this.
Understanding how ransomware attackers initially compromise your environment tells you how much time you really have before serious damage happens.
We talk about time to ransomware. So how long do you have between that initial compromise and ultimately that ransomware being deployed within your organization? And what we saw this year is that time to ransomware differs depending on the initial compromise that you get. And so the way that they initially get in is very predictive of the amount of time that you have to eradicate that intrusion before ultimately ransomware is deployed. It's not necessarily dependent on threat actor group, but I think what we're seeing are shards of operational groups within each of those using their own tools, and those tools predict pretty accurately the timelines that they follow with that follow-on activity, ultimately leading to ransomware.
Meanwhile, identity threats surged throughout 2025. Attackers realized they didn't need to break in anymore when they can just log in as you.
When I think about the compromises we're responding to today, they're often as simple as the attacker simply logging in.
Identity is a new attack surface that just doesn't have a lot of visibility. And obviously, if you walk into a dark room and you can't see what's in the room, you're gonna be a little anxious about what you're walking into.
Identity threats don't have those telltale signs of something bad is occurring that you can catch before it turns catastrophic.
From an attacker's perspective, no longer do they need to just pound away at the firewall to break in. Now it's, hey, if I can get access to a valid identity, now I have access to the data.
You really have one chance to catch something bad has happened, and that's that login event.
Staying ahead in 2026 means security must be a business-wide responsibility, not just another IT ticket.
Cybersecurity is never a one and done. This is almost like a Mario Kart race. We're trying to stop attackers, but they've got their cart and they're shooting their red shells at us too. And then the laps, it doesn't go for 4 laps, right? It goes infinite.
Educating your employees that there's a new threat that they're going to be facing when they encounter the internet that they haven't seen before makes them aware when they first encounter it that this isn't just normal, more weird stuff the internet's asking you to do to access a web page. This has either been compromised or it's malicious in nature and you've clicked on a bad link. If we can stop people from falling for these, overall we're more secure.
Download the Huntress 2026 Cyber Threat Report to stay ahead of the cyber criminals targeting your business.